Thanks a lot for that introduction, Meg. I don't think so. There's a lot to actually talk about here. Devil page, which you mentioned, is one of the things which got me started off a lot into the core sector of developer relations and creating content and everything for people who want to get into a field which is not that very well like out there. The
Mhm.
people in developer relations are quite out there, but the information about how to get into it was not out there. So that's how it started. And I've been into multiple different community sector professions in the whole uh, 5, 6 years of my career till now. But yeah, currently I'm leading the developer relations at Web3 and that's a pretty interesting place to be in. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it. All right. So when did you first become interested in AI? What was it that drew your attention to it?
So interestingly, I've been exploring AI for quite a while now. So in my college days, I had like a pet project, which was I wanted to build something very interesting. It was like when you click a photo of somebody, it could just take the measurements of that person automatically using that photo. And then it can just tell you how to just stitch clothes for that particular person. That was the idea I was working on. So I created a project on that as well. It was using Google's TensorFlow libraries. I created a custom model on top of that. So I was exploring a lot, tinkering a lot with AI for a while now. I'll say 5, 6 years. When GPT-3 came over, the AI, OpenAI is like major release at that point of time. Everybody in the development world was actually shocked. And I was trying to tinker with it with the large language models which are over there. And now then 3.5 came over, ChatGPT came over, and 4 came over. I've been trying a lot of different things. Like recently, I was just trying to file my taxes using ChatGPT 4. So that was pretty interesting. So yeah, I've been tinkering about with AI for a while now, and it's been really awesome. I cannot hear you, Meg. I guess you're on mute.
This is the third time this morning I've done this, and this is like my whole job is to talk, mute myself, unmute, and then talk again. Dear Lord, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, so if people are unaware, could you tell
Mhm.
us more about the DevRel role and what that really entails?
Right, sure. So developer relations is a very different role altogether. Like people have heard about marketing, people have heard about how product development works, how sales works, how actually the engineering part works. But always there's a communication gap between all the teams. Then there's community management where there's a community person who actually needs to talk to the core members and get them to actually understand the company's products and everything. So developer relations is like the middle field altogether in all of these things, right? A developer relations can be with the marketing team, helping them shape the content creation aspect and helping them understand what it actually entails for the product to actually be successful and what are the different things that have been happening. They manage the community to an extent that they handle the developer aspect of it. Okay, so there are community managers always, which are like managing the whole community. Sometimes developer relations community managers are also there. But generally, the aim of the developer relations person is to understand what the need of the community is and give it back to the company or maybe amplify the product within the community as well. So these are two different kinds of community focused developer relations that can be developer advocacy or developer evangelism, right? And then comes again the thing I talked about, the product management part to an extent. They help product to be shaped according to what the need of the community is. So it's a very people focused role where you actually get to interact with a lot of people, explore a lot of new things, and every single day is a new challenge. Every single day is a very different day altogether because you cannot be sticking to a particular way of doing things and get along. You have to go and explore things. And you are the voice of the company in general. Within the company, outside the company, you are the voice. And that is the main thing about developer relations, being the voice. So yeah, that's what I'll define developer relations to be.
I like it. Do you think are there any common misconceptions that people have about it? Things that you're like, no, actually we don't do blah, 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 or, something that most people think of that actually isn't true about the role?
So technically, like whatever people think, we do a lot more than that. So whenever I talk about developer relations, people think those people distribute swag around the community. A lot of people think that, but yeah, that is definitely part of the job, because obviously you have to cater to these audiences, and you have to make them like just listen to what you're saying, and giving them a small token definitely helps in that way, right? It helps you to actually get that brand presence or something. And internally, a lot of people think developer relations is a field where you don't have to be very technical, but you actually have to be very technical if you want to understand the product and be in the leadership position of developer relations, because it's developer is the first word of developer relations. That's what I think about it is. And yeah, that's how it is.
Okay. All right. Okay, I want to pull back a little bit and let's kind of take a look at the industry as a whole. Right. AI technologies are sweeping everything right now. Do you think that they are going to reshape developer engagement, or do you like what effect do you think that they're having?
One of the major effects what AI is going to do, what I feel, is to boost entrepreneurship. We'll see a lot more products. Right now, every small thing, like if you see small indie developers are being created, and AI is the thing that is fueling a lot of indie developers, right? But at the same point, these people have to understand the needs of the people who are using their product, right? These people have to engage with the people who are using their product. Indie developers cannot do a lot in that sense. They generally have their own way of managing communities. They generally try to add support bots or something, and that is where AI is helping a lot. But when it comes to the human to human interaction, that is one thing I feel AI cannot change. Like, for example, in content creation, definitely there, like you can generate all the content with Chat GPT or something. You can have different other like models which generate the video in an AI face and everything. But that can be good support videos, right? But if you are going to sell off a particular thing to a particular person, they would like to see that human to human interaction. That's what I feel personally, right? And especially if you go to different conferences and stuff like that, you cannot be very to the point, or you cannot be like if when I talk about AI is working on prompts. It's to the point what it actually does. It can behave in a human way, that it can like play around with words and everything. But at the end of the day, right now, the current state of AI, as we are seeing, it's not very human to the whole thing, right? And that is where developer relations comes in, because you have to build relationships. There's where community engagement comes in, community management comes in, because now people are building a lot of small communities around different products, and this is going to grow a lot, as I see right now. So yeah, developer engagement has changed in a way that all the manual and redundant tasks are being removed. At the same point, communities are becoming more abundant out there, and people are finding a place with the product to reshape what they want to actually see uh, in the particular sector. So I'll talk about different sectors as well. But yeah, that's what I feel. Yeah.
Well, it makes a ton of sense. I mean, when when Henry Ford had the Model T roll off the line, it's not like you didn't have chauffeurs anymore. They just weren't driving carriages; they were driving cars. So,
Exactly.
I see questions that come in in the chat thread, people asking if AI is going to put them out of a job. And I know next to nothing about AI. What I do know is it's basically logic gates at this point. It's not an actual person. You haven't created consciousness. So when people are thinking AI and they're thinking, oh, it's the rise of the machines and blah, blah. No, this is something that's going to like make your life easier. Okay. It's like explaining to an oven what the microwave is. It's not going to take your job away. It's okay.
So like taking your job away and actually making you do a lot more with your current things that are out there definitely is a thing, right? Like whenever the new industrial revolution, for example, that happened, it created a new sector where people had to work. People had to learn new skills for sure. Like it will definitely automate a lot of things that are actually going on, and you have to upskill yourself to be relevant. That's definitely true. But I'm pretty sure that there will be new things that we'll be going to do. Like all the manual work has been removed because of the industrial revolution, how it started and how it progressed. A lot of like rigorous mental work has to be removed using the same way for with AI. Although we cannot actually predict the future because there are different theories around how AI can actually go wrong as well, and that's pretty true because if you see the level of innovation that is happening, this can be one of the outcomes but that's a different thing altogether, because when we have a whole process of how we build things, how governments actually restrict the innovation to an extent when it is going to like cause problems. Like for example, if you see nuclear energy very clearly, nuclear energy had suddenly became a huge thing, like it became a huge thing when like the whole blasts and everything happened in Japan. So at that point of time, heavy restrictions were placed in the innovation of nuclear energy, right? Every single country in the world was restricted in the way how it can actually like think about innovating its own nuclear power. Similar things will definitely happen when it comes to this kind of technology as well, where people will gather and people will actually make decisions on how to better use it to empower us. But at the same point, like you have to be very careful in terms of innovating in particular sector. So yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah, makes a ton of sense. I mean, I remember after cloning, what was it? Dolly the sheep was the first one in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And then there were a bunch of restrictions put on it. And so like, yeah, there was still progress being made, but like it was under a much closer microscope, which is probably a good thing. So
Yeah.
We did get another audience question I thought was really good. This person asked, what are the ethical considerations that DevRel practitioners should keep in mind when working with AI-powered tools and platforms?
Right. So if I talk about ethics in AI, that's actually a totally different subject altogether. Like it's not just the DevRel practitioners, it's everyone using AI. In terms, AI can help you with a lot of things, from like thinking about the innovations in your project to actually like actually building it. Like from the ideation to the building stage, it can help you with everything. At the same point, it can help you with interacting with your audiences and everything. In terms of what I think the ethics of AI with developer relations should be, is like when you are interacting with in the community and you want if you want to actually, so when it comes to a community, censorship is a thing when it comes to community, and AI can help you censor things pretty easily, right? And in the community, the voices need to be heard. That's the basic idea of a community. But at the same point, the person who is managing it does not like all of the things to be out there, and it creates a different atmosphere, right? So here AI can play a very cruel role in terms that it can actually like promote an agenda, and it can make the voices unheard within your community as well. So when it comes to like developer relations, this is one use case I can think of. There might be multiple use cases, but this is what came into my mind right now. And so yeah, ethics in AI depends on a particular use case. I cannot generalize it because ethics itself is very, very vague, to be very honest. So this is one thing I can definitely think about right now.
Yeah, of course. All right. So as we're talking about AI, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that you have seen or that you've heard from people?
Misconceptions about AI. So if I say people are like thinking that AI can definitely replace all the like, so there's a misconception about AI in that sense. Like we thought it will evolve as robots first, and like the mechanical tasks will be automated to an extent. But what we have seen is right now the mental tasks are being automated. It is helping you to actually innovate, not innovate, actually generate content, generate code, and all these things. At the same point, people are worried about their jobs, as you mentioned as well, because now our major focus is to actually think about in the mental state. So again, if I talk about jobs, if I talk about manual stuff, AI is not good at decision making, and this is one of the major misconceptions people have to think about. You cannot let AI to make decisions for any company. It can you cannot let AI right now to train itself to an extent. When we get AI to train itself, although we people say auto GPT can actually recursively do that, but it can go either ways, right? It will not give you the exact result what you are desiring at that point of time. So AI cannot make informed decisions, and that is where humans come in. And this will be the new sector what we will be dealing with, decision making. And that is actually a pretty good place to be in, right? Because as a manager, like you like to make decisions and you like to manage things generally, and you have different things working for you, right? So definitely entrepreneurship is going to be one of the biggest things over here, because as more decision makers are there, as many entrepreneurs will be growing. So yeah, this is what I feel. My biggest misconception is like you won't have anything to do. You will have definitely things to do, and that will be less manual than what you have right now. You are on mute, Meg.
Dear Lord, y'all, every I've gotten that wrong like 4 times today alone. This is not my day to buy a lottery ticket, apparently. Okay, how could AI be used to help build stronger developer relationships and create more impactful developer experiences? You know, if you're spending all of this time here, what's the benefit going to be?
Right. So at this point of time, it's a pretty good place to be in a developer relations role. Like, for example, if you want to explore new things, AI can help you understand it pretty easily, right? Like it can help you from writing code to actually writing blogs to creating content for videos. So this is the best time to engage with your community, do the actual work of talking to people as a developer relations person, because that is actually the major thing what companies expect you to do. A lot of things that entail to give information out, but at the same time, opening up your ears is one of the biggest things that is that AI is actually giving you the chance to do, right? So at this point of time, I feel with the use of AI, you can automate a lot of different things that have been happening, from like generation of video content out there. You can like just go out there and talk, just create a lot of community calls, conferences like these are huge ones, the small ones like I had earlier with Power to Fly as well, small chat and learn sessions and everything what you have right now. So like you can do a lot of these things right now, interact with the community, listen back what their feedback is and things like that as a developer relation professional. At the same time, increase the efficiency of your work. And this actually comes to every single job out there, from product management. I've seen a lot of my friends actually doing this. Definitely, if I talk about GitHub for co-pilots and everything, everybody is pretty good with writing code with it. I love it because it helps me discover half of my things. And even filing taxes, as I mentioned earlier, like everything can be automated. So that's a pretty good place to be in. So yeah.
Just random question for me. What's the most unusual thing that you have used ChatGPT or used AI for, in the last, let's say the last year or two?
That's an interesting question. What's the most unusual thing? I have to pull up my chat history to actually think about it. um, but I guess it's pretty difficult to think about, because most of the things what I think about is being done by some Redditor already. Like for example, hacking ChatGPT to do a lot of things, making it conscious. Because I tried few of those prompts to actually make it aware about itself and talk to it in a different way, and have read a lot of different chats. Um, I tried researching with it to an extent, like asking it for different links. Like when the Bing search integration happened with it, although they have removed the Bing search integration due to some reason right now. I tried with Google Bard as well. What I realized, it was not very great at that. So like I tried multiple things. But later on realized that. So maybe the unusual aspect was I realized it's not great at research, and I tried a lot of research with it. Then I realized if I go and give it like specifications of how I want it to be, it works pretty well. So maybe somewhere between hacking ChatGPT and doing some interesting things to create like some bot for my documentation and stuff like that, so that I could answer less support queries. To be very honest, to doing like all of these research work, I've done quite a lot of stuff with it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. I think I always like to ask people how they use it, because we had somebody 2 days ago that uses it for time management. There's another one that
That's
said
nice.
she uses it almost exclusively for all their like meal prep and planning and stuff like that, which I thought was really kind of
Wow.
cool. So yeah, it's just one of my favorite
I
questions.
have to think about more of the live things I can automate. I've been automating my work tasks quite a bit. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely that's one of the things.
All right, my last question for you. Where do
Mhm.
you think AI is moving? Let's talk like next year, 5 years, and 10 years, when it comes to the role of a developer relations person.
So as it is moving right now, developer relations in the next 5 years is going to see a boom, according to me. So as I mentioned earlier, there will be more community-focused products by a lot of entrepreneurs, because budding entrepreneurs will be increased. Like for example, if I talk about Web3 world, so Web3 world like does not have a lot of users. But when you actually see it from within, the idea is to actually create things for the community, and the information is getting from the community as well. And this is where I feel AI is going to empower a lot of innovations as well, because now we don't have to be restricted by a like huge umbrella software and have to like be stuck to what it actually provides. A lot of people will be providing tools which are very customized to the need of each person. And when this level of customization happens, the needs and the expectations of people grow. That means that the community around a small like thing will grow a lot. There will be micro communities all across. And when there are micro communities all across, there are people who are needed to understand and give out the feedback of what is happening right now. DevRels can be great decision makers as well, because they know the real people who are using this, right? So when these kind of people are growing, I'm not saying as a profession it is growing, because I feel as the definition of professional will change in a while as AI continues to grow, because as I mentioned, decision making is one of the biggest things that will happen. So this is where developer relations as a field will definitely grow, because we need to interact. We need to know the real people who are using our product, and definitely content creation and everything what is there definitely can be automated and is currently being automated. And this is where the human to human touch is what developer relations can bring. And there are so many things what we have not even thought about right now, because the speed at which AI is growing, like you cannot imagine what can happen in the very near future. But I imagine that roles which are more people focused, roles which are more decision making oriented, roles which are not automatic, like you don't have to do manual stuff, will definitely grow. And developer relations is one of those roles.
Excellent predictions
Yeah.
here. Last question that I have. If people are leaving here from today and they only remember one thing, what do you want that one thing to be?
So we talked about jobs and AI. That's the most thing I guess we talked about today as well. I will say AI is your friend. AI is a huge tool for you right now. And like instead of being worried about what is going to be in the future, it's better to leverage what you have right now and try to grow with it. Because if you are actually delving into AI and just using it for your day-to-day stuff and like understanding what are the new things going on instead of being frightened from it, you'll be going to succeed a lot. You will be doing a lot of things. And you will be up to date with the things that are going to happen in the near future as well. So just try to tinker with different things out there, and don't worry, like things will be fine. Definitely will be fine. I'm sure about that.
Thank you so much, Yash. This was really, really wonderful to get to learn from you and get to know you a little bit more over the course of our time today. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your expertise with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Thanks, Meg. It was a great conversation. Thank you.